So software is nothing but it's a set of instructions or commands for hardware to perform on behalf of you and give you some output. As simple as that, right? In a plain English. It it has set of instructions in the form of programs or in the form of libraries so that you could execute those programs on your computer and you get the output, desired output or results, what is intended in that program. So software is also the lowest instructions which the machine could easily understand or your CPU could easily understand and process those instructions and give you the results based on your input what is provided in the device, right? So basically all these commands you cannot run directly on a hardware. So you need some sort of an interface, right? So that interface is provided by operating system. The first set of interface which deals with the hardware, you usually, if you have to deal with the hardware, it is very difficult for each and every command for you to tell hardware like now you have to open console, now you have to send the output to monitor and all that stuff. It is very difficult. So that's the reason we have already an interface called operating system and we use operating system to interact with the hardware. Okay. Can someone guess if we can use the computers without software? Can we use computers without software? Is it possible? Why everyone turned off the video again?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, sir.
Can we use computers without having any software in it?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone thinks that we could use computers without having a software? So software is the core of the entire computer. Without that, it's very difficult. So you need to have some interface, and that interface we're going to discuss today. Okay. Can you name some of the softwares which is very important? Swastik,
Yes, sir.
Neil, yeah. Can all of you name some softwares which is very important for you to operate the computer on a day-to-day life?
Sir, Google.
Google is not a software. Google
Mm,
has a lot of things. What in Google? Google is a company name.
Sir, operating systems.
Excellent. Okay. What operating systems do you uh, use on a day-to-day basis?
Windows, iOS.
Yeah. What else? Aisha, Jantika, what other softwares do you guys use apart from operating systems? Operating system is just one of them, right? Okay. Let's see. So there are a lot of softwares what we use on a day-to-day basis. So maybe operating system is just one of them. We use Zoom meetings. We use, say, for example, browsers like Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer. We use Word documents, spreadsheets. All of them are different softwares, right? So we're gonna learn some of them today. So there are different types of softwares. So primarily there are two broad categories of softwares. One is the system software, and within system software, there is like operating system, there is device drivers, system utilities, all of them put together under the system management program or softwares. And also, we do have the developing or the developer software like the programming language, the language translator, linker, and loader sort of thing. So these are the things which is grouped under the system software. So today we're going to learn some of these things for sure. On the other side, there is also application software, which is primarily like, say, your word processor, your presentation, spreadsheet, image editor, your music player, your chat messenger, your kind of browsers, and all that stuff, right? And also, you have some utility softwares or special purpose software like reservation systems or attendant management system, billing systems, or report card generator. All these things provided by a third party vendor, which we will see in detail today. Okay, so this is a kind of a overall classification of different softwares which we're gonna look into, and which we're gonna also do some of these things. But from the course standpoint, we're gonna pay a lot of attention to the development software, the programming languages, right? So that's the overall objective of this course. So we will spend 60 to 70% of the time on this programming language. So before that, we're gonna learn all these things, the operating system details today. So the first thing is, let's get into the operating systems. Okay. So operating system, as we have seen, it is an interface, the first level of interface between the hardware and between whom? Between the person who is operating, right? So if you want to operate, the first level of interface is the operating system. If you have operating system installed on your computer, you will be able to at least interact with the computer. You can do something, you can play around with the computer. Without that, it is almost impossible for you to do anything meaningful on the computer. Okay. So it is set of programs which is built by companies like Microsoft, Apple, or open source community like Linux. They bundle all the program controls which is required for controlling the hardware devices, like, say, for example, all your input devices, all your output devices, microprocessors, how to control all of them, how to process certain things. If you give certain job to a computer, the operating system knows how to operate them, how to control, how to navigate all that stuff, right? Can someone think of any analogy of an operating system? Say, for example, in real world, what you can think of an operating system, close to an operating system? Anyone? Any ideas? So let me give an example. So in real world, the operating system, say for example, if you have a large family or a large function get together going on, right? There has to be someone who has to coordinate, right? Say for example, if you have a school function going on, right? So if there are so many activities which is going on, usually we choose someone who manages the whole program, right? The program leader or the program manager, right? So who says, now I have to buy this, now you have to do this. Without that, things will just like be all uh, not coordinated sort of thing, right? So the operating system controls, binds, and executes some of these operations on behalf of the user, right? So that's what usually the operating system do. It manages all the hardware, and also if there are any other third party additional software, it manages, it stores in the storage system, it invokes, it executes, and it gives you all the results required for you to consume. Okay. And it is also a platform which is the core. Without that, you cannot also build or load or use any other applications or softwares. Okay. Now let's take another quiz. Swastik, can you name one operating system? Guys, you need to turn on your videos. I don't want you guys to turn off the videos, okay? Swastik, name one operating system. Okay, anyone want to try? Meenakshi, Aisha, Varnab, Neil, Devdutt.
Sir, iOS.
Windows.
Great. iOS, Windows. What else?
Linux.
Oh, nice. You guys are aware of Linux as well. Absolutely. Nice.
Ubuntu.
Very good. Ubuntu. Devdutt, where is our pocket dynamo? Hey, Devdutt is quiet today. Devdutt, you need to turn on your video. Today we agreed that we will turn on the video. The little rock star. Where is he? Okay, maybe he's still waking up. Oh, there you go. Any other operating system you are aware of apart from what we have discussed?
Sir, Windows.
Exactly. Which version of Windows?
Sir, Windows 10 is operating system.
Yes, you are absolutely right. So there are a lot of operating systems. The most popular ones are like the Windows, and Windows has various versions or various flavors. Apple also has various operating systems. One they use for mobile phones, tablets, and the one they use for the laptops. And Android is a very popular operating system, which all of us forgot, right? Including me. We forgot mentioning Android because we use mobile phone, and almost this is the most used operating system today. And Linux also has various flavors. Okay. So first of all, when we say operating system, so operating systems do lot of things. Okay. But we're going to discuss few of them. What are they going to do? What are they going to manage on all that stuff? So every software has certain responsibility, what they need to do, right? So few of them, operating system is responsible to do the CPU or processor management. What does that mean? So every computer if you are the controller of the microprocessor or CPU. Okay. Let's say all of us go to say Devdutt. Okay. All of us bring one job or set of programs to Devdutt. Okay. Execute mine, execute mine, execute mine. Let's assume Devdutt is the owner of the CPU or he is the operating system. What should Devdutt do now? It's the question is for everyone. All of us can participate. Say if all of us go to Devdutt to execute our programs, what should Devdutt do as an operating system? Will Devdutt do all of them together? Is it possible? He's only one person, right? How can he do so many tasks one time, right?
Sir, I can't do everything at one time.
Then what will you do? You will say, okay, let me figure out. Okay, I will do first my job, and then second I'll do Barnab's, third I will do Neil's, fourth I will do Swastik, fifth I'll do Aisha's, sixth I'll do Meenakshi's, and seventh I'll do Jayantika. Right? Because you have to tell the sequencing of it, right? Then what if everyone fight? No, 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 mine is first. Right? How will you resolve this problem? If everyone starts fighting, how should we resolve it?
By
If all
giving
of
a sequence order.
Yes, but how will you give the sequence order? How do you know what is priority? If I tell, hey, Devdutt, you need to execute mine. I'm your teacher. Will you listen to me? Right? You may, right? You may. But what if your dad comes and tells, because you are the operating system, your dad comes and tells you execute mine as well. What will you do then? Now you are confused, right? So being an operating system, if everyone brings their own jobs, right? The operating system decides how to do all the jobs without, say, deprioritizing or without denying anyone's request, right? Say the operating system have to do certain tricks, like say, for example, okay, now what I will do is I will do 10% of Madan sir's job, 10% of Bernab's, 10% of Neil's, 10% of Swastik, 10% of Aisha, 10% of Meenakshi's job, so that it looks like the job is getting done parallelly to all of them. That is one trick, right? You could do round robin. You could do 10%, 10%, again come back, again do 10%. So that way everyone's job is started, right? That is one trick. What are the tricks you can apply? Aisha, what will you do if everyone comes to you being an operating system asking, execute my job? What will you do? Okay, maybe Aisha left. Anyone wants to take this question? Isn't it interesting problem? Right? Barnab, you want to take this question? How will you solve this problem? It's very important because these are the problems what you need to solve as we get it deeper into the programming, right? So how will you solve this problem? Say if everyone comes and fights, hey, you have to execute my job. What will you do?
I will
Neil,
first do the job which is most important to me.
what if everyone says this is important? How would you decide that? That's the problem, right? We need to solve. If everything is priority, how will you do it? Let's take a little bit more easier one. Let's say, how do you manage all your 8, 9 subjects? You don't study all of them together, right? This is the easier one to digest.
Sir, the most important one I'll study first, then the least.
Dude, not most important. If you don't study on one subject, if you fail, you still fail in the whole thing, right? Everything is important in your subjects, right? What if you only study mathematics? You leave, say, for example, one language. What if you fail? What happens in the whole year? You'll be treated as not qualified, right? So usually, how do you study? You study all the subjects at a time, or you take one subject at a time, you finish one chapter, right? How do you study?
Sir, I finished one chapter.
Exactly. So that way, you satisfy your mom, dad, class teacher saying, I'm studying everything. Similarly, the responsibility of the operating system is when they come with all the requests, the operating system has to decide now how much time should I dedicate to job one, right? How much time should I dedicate processing job one? How much time I dedicate to job two? How much time I dedicate to job three, right? And what should be the order? Like how big is the book? Like say for example, mathematics might be a very long book. Maybe you need to do a lot of you need to spend a lot of time on it, right? Compared to say for example, we all speak Hindi and we are very good at Hindi language. You might spend little time, right? If the textbook is smaller of size and you have lesser chapters, do you spend 10 hours in a week for studying mathematics versus English same way? No, right? So every job also would have different size. So the operating system in our case is the deciding factor which decides what to do in the processor management, like how to do all that stuff. We'll get into a little bit more details into it. Apart from that, the operating system is also supposed to do the device management. The device management is nothing but your input devices, your output devices, controlling those devices, all that stuff. And it is also supposed to do the memory management, file system management, and network management. So we will see there are so many other things your processor also does. Okay, we will briefly look into some of these things. Okay. So now let's start with the processor management or the job management. So all of you, can you open something called Task Manager in your computer? There is a Task Manager. Did you ever see how to open that?
No, sir, I did not see.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So right click on your taskbar. Right click on the taskbar. You will see a Task Manager. Did anyone get to see? Right
Yes,
click,
sir.
open the Task Manager, click on the Task Manager. Right click, there will be a menu which will open up and there will be something called Task Manager.
Yes, sir.
Right? Can someone click on it?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
it's already open.
Okay, perfect. So what do you see there in there?
Sir, like there are many apps which I downloaded and all. They're showing some
No,
CPU, memory, disk, network, GP and all.
Exactly. So it's not what the apps you have downloaded. It is showing all the apps what is currently running in your computer, right? So that's what I mentioned. Who is controlling all these apps which is running currently? Who is controlling that? Your operating system. That's what we discussed, right?
Yes, sir.
So Aisha, do you see your task manager running?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the top three processes or jobs which is running or applications which is running?
Sir, Google Chrome and Discord.
Google Chrome and Discord. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you see all of them having same memory, same CPU percentages?
No, sir.
Okay. So you see different CPU percentage, right?
Yes, sir.
So what does that mean? So when you see, say for example, CPU percentage is something, what is the current CPU which is being consumed by the application, right? So what does that mean? Swastik, Burnap, what does that mean? Anyone can answer. Say when you see different CPU percentages, what does that mean?
How much space it is taking in the processor, like how much capacity of the processor is being taken.
Exactly. So that is showing or telling us this is how much of CPU power it is consuming, the app, right? But who is deciding giving all that CPU capacity? Say, for example, there is only one CPU, or let's assume there is only one CPU. Because you don't have multiple microprocessors, you have checked, right? All of you had only one microprocessor, and within that microprocessor, someone is allocating the CPU time for each of the app. Who is that allocate? Who is doing that allocation? Your Windows, right? Operating system,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So if you see, the allocation is not equal. Not everyone is not getting equal share of the CPU. It is decided by the operating system. And operating systems have a lot of intelligent algorithms to decide which app should get priority, which apps will get the CPU, which apps will get more memory, which apps will get more CPU, which apps will get more disk space, and all that stuff, right? So if you see, the task manager will clearly tell you. Can someone share their task manager, Minakshi, or someone? You want to share your screen and show us the task manager so that we can see?
Sir, can I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
sure.
go ahead. Anyone?
Sir, for me, the Microsoft Teams, it's showing like the power usage very high, then it changes to moderate and again very high.
Yeah, exactly. So if you see, we are seeing Jayantika's task manager. So this is what the operating system is controlling. So on the left column, leftmost column, you see we are seeing lot of apps here, right? Google Chrome, Microsoft Excel, Teams, and all that stuff. These are all the applications which is running inside the operating system. This is not operating system. This is the applications which is running within inside the operating system, and each application has a different CPU time which is being allocated. So the operating system decides, okay, Google Chrome should get this much of CPU, and that is the topmost software which should run in the priority order, and it is getting 364 MB of memory in the device storage, and it is consuming like say 3% of the disk, and it is using like say constantly the network communication. And the GPU is the graphical unit basically used to render the monitor and the output devices. So this is all controlled by the operating system. So basically, now if you see, first, whenever we go with a request, so if you start four applications together, okay, so the operating system has to manage all the tasks, all the applications. So each application request is a task for the operating system. So basically, there are different ways of managing all these applications and allocating or scheduling the time for these applications. So there is a round robin way, right? So you start with studying one subject, going to other subject, going other subject by doing one chapter, two chapters slowly, right? That is what we call it as round robin. So you take one at a time, go around the entire room and finish all the jobs till the job or the app doesn't exit. There is also priorities given. Say for example, if there is an app in the foreground, the app or the job gets a higher priority. If the app is in the background, right, which means if the app is minimized, okay, so the app gets a low priority, and when someone invokes that app, right, so it should get a higher priority, right? And there are a lot of other things like the long term app, like say if there is an app which needs to always keep running versus short term app which just runs and turns off itself. And there are medium term apps. So all the tasks get in the sort of a queuing system. The operating system takes one at a time, executes some portion of it, and gives back the output or results into the output devices. So that's what is the primary job of the operating system: scheduling the jobs, managing the memory for it, managing the storage files of it, output, giving the output and all that stuff. Okay, Jantika, now you can stop. Now let's quickly get to some quick questions. Okay, so Swastik, say if you build a program, okay, in Python very soon, you're going to build, right? Okay, so who would decide how to run that program, how much memory you would get, how much CPU you would get, and all that stuff? Swastik, you there? Okay, maybe he's on mute. Yeah, Meenakshi, you want to give a try? Who would decide? Why did you turn off? Can you turn on, Meenakshi, your video? Yeah, who would decide when you write a program? Who would decide now how much memory, how much CPU, where you would store, and all that stuff?
It depends maybe on it maybe depends on which app we are apparently using. That app is having a higher CPU storage memory, and the ones that we are not really using and it's just open maybe get a lower one.
Yeah, so it is all decided by operating system. That's what we are discussing so far, right? So the operating system decides based on how big your application is, right? How it has to execute, right? How much memory it should have, how much disk space it should have. All that stuff is decided by the operating system.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, sorry, that was a network problem. So,
No worries, no worries. No, I was asking, so if you write a program, who was going to decide or who is going to decide how much memory, CPU, disk space, networking space is required for your program to run? So it is operating system technically, right?
yes, sir.
Any doubts in it? Because this is very important for us to understand. You all need to understand this clearly and need to be vocal. Okay? Perfect. So let's see the next one. Okay, we are clear what operating system's prime responsibility of managing apps, jobs, and controlling the processor and all that stuff. Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Perfect.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now let's see what else the operating system needs to do, right? Say the operating system also need to manage all the devices attached, right? Say for example, your operating system has to manage so many devices. What possible devices your operating system needs to manage? I want to hear at least two from each one of you. Let's start with Aisha. What devices do you think the operating system needs to manage? We discussed a lot of devices, right? What devices?
Sir, like applications or
Devices. We are talking about devices. What devices do you think the operating system needs to manage?
uh, not sure, sir.
Yesterday we discussed about a lot of hardware components, right?
Sir,
Just
the
recollect.
input and output devices like the printer, scanner.
Yes. Okay. So Devdutt gave two options: printer, scanner. What else? What other things do you think the operating system needs to manage? Aisha?
Mouse
Uh,
and keyboard.
Okay, excellent. Jayantika gave mouse and keyboard. Okay. Aisha, Barnab, Neil, and Swastik. I want to hear at least one device. There are so many devices. I opened and in the diagram and I showed you all the devices, right? Yeah, Barnab, go ahead.
sir,
Scanner. Scanner.
remote.
Mhm. How about the computer had memory? Memory also is a physical device, right? Which is attached to your, right?
Sir, CPU?
Exactly. Microprocessor, we have seen memory, we have seen hard disk, we have seen, right? Printers, scanners, right? So there is a DVD drive, there are drives, there are graphical drives, so many things. So operating system, apart from managing the microprocessor, it needs to handle all the devices, right? Because your input has to be read by input devices, right? And say, for example, we cannot let each of these devices act on their own. The operating system is the kind of monitor. It is the coordinator, right? It coordinates among all the devices, right? So the primary responsibility of managing all the devices is with, say, for example, with the operating system. Okay. So now there are input devices and there are output devices. Okay. Now let's see few technical examples, one on the buffering and the other one on the spooling. So the buffering thing, let's talk about this little bit. We all use internet browsing, YouTube especially. Okay.
Yes.
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 Okay. So let's say we all have seen our computer memory. Okay. Roughly, what is the memory size we have? All of you, just make a guess. What is the memory size in our computers? Aisha, any guess? All I want to hear from all of you.
4
I'll
GB.
perfect 4 GB. Okay, Barnab, Jantika, Swastik.
16 GB.
Okay, Swastik, Devdutt,
16 to
Meenakshi.
32 GB.
Sir, 12.
Okay, who has 32 GB of memory?
Or
Okay,
no, I'm
Neil.
not sure. Maybe.
Okay, Neil.
I maybe have.
Sir, 5 GB?
Okay, so let's say you have a memory of, like, say, 4 GB or 8 GB, let's assume. Okay, memory is always in the multiples of, so it's in the base of 2 actually. We will come to there. Okay, it's a quadratic expression where you can multiply by 2 factor, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, something like that. It's a 2 multiplier. Okay, say if you have a 4 GB RAM. Okay, let's assume you are watching a movie in the YouTube. Okay, you are watching a, how many of you watch web series? How many of you watch? Okay, let's
Sir,
say you are watching a very long web series. Great, I know you all watch web series. Okay, let's assume you all watch web series. Okay, the web series is a very long one. Let's assume there is a web series which is size of, let's say, 100 GB. Okay, now how do you think a 100 GB movie file will load into your computer? 4 GB. Any guesses? Because your computer, anything which has to load has to first come into the computer memory, and the memory sends it to the devices, right? So everything has to come, any information before going into the output devices, it has to come to memory. If you have only 4 GB, how are you going to load 100 GB of data or file? Any guesses?
So maybe we have in 4 GBs are forever memory of our computer, and we have more GB, which is actually going to store the temporary files.
Yes,
Or
there are different types of memory, primary and secondary. But if you have a very long file, okay, let's say very big file, which cannot fit into your computer, right? YouTube is a classic example. So when you watch YouTube, YouTube does not load all the file content at a time. Okay. So what YouTube does is, say for example, let's assume, now, let's see this. Okay. Let's assume there is a 100 GB of file.
Sir, you're not sharing the screen.
Let's say 100 GB of file. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen.
No.
Okay, let's hold on a second. Now is it visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sharing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's assume okay. Now let's say there is a file. Okay. Let's say this way. Let's assume there is a long file. Okay. Let's assume this is a file, something like this. Now let's split the file into parts. Okay. Let's say we have split this into parts. Okay. Let's say this is a 10 GB file, but you have only 4 GB. What happens is, let's say it's split into 1 GB parts, right? 1 GB, 1 GB parts. Okay. Now what buffering is all about? So what YouTube Player as an application, okay, it gets some parts of the file, okay, and starts storing it in the local storage before it's sent to the output device. Okay, say for example your output device might be very slow. Okay, let's take one example. Okay, let's say we have a quick example of, let's assume you have a capacity. Let's say Devdutt can eat, or Devdutt can process, say for example, 10 jobs per hour. Okay. Let's say Devdutt has a friend. Okay. Now Devdutt, whatever job Devdutt completes, okay, he has to give it over to his friend. Right? Let's say now it's a kind of, whatever he finishes off, he needs to give it to his friend. Let's say his friend is only capable of taking or accepting 2 per hour, 2 jobs per hour. Do you see the difference? Devdutt has more capacity. Now he's processing 10 per hour and he's giving it to his friend who can only consume 2. What should Devdutt do? Will he throw all the 10 on his friend's door and
Sir,
say,
I'll give like at one by one.
yeah, but what will you do? Because you are finishing 10 at a time, but your friend is only accepting 2 at a time. You have to store it. You have to buffer it, right? You will store it and you will give him at a rate what he can accept, right? So usually the output devices or input devices are very slow compared to the processor speed. That is what we need to understand here. Okay. So the output of these devices like say printer. Can you print like say 1000 papers per second? Have you seen
No,
printers,
sir.
how they print?
No, sir.
It is very slow, but your processor can give 1000 papers output to the printer, right? They cannot print all of them together. Similarly, YouTube server is very fast, right? It can just dump 100 GB of data into your computer. Can your monitor display 100 hours of movie file within a short span of time? No, right? Your display, monitor, your processor, it has a speed. It can only consume like say 30 frames per second, and you, if the whole file is of like say 4 hours, it can only consume, say for example, small parts of the file, right? So what computers has to do with the device management is, so basically it has to control the device speeds, right? If the device is slow, it will hold all the things in its holding area before giving it to the devices, right? That is the job of the operating system. Say for example, if your printer is not ready to accept 1000 pages per second, if you give 1000 pages, it will not print everything together. That is a technique called spooling. So operating system holds all of them, say all the 100 pages in his memory, and the operating sends one page at a time. It sends one page. If the operating system say, if the printer says I am done with the printer, then it sends the second file. If the printer says I'm done with the second file, then it sends the third file. It does not send all of them together to the printer and says my job is over, right? That is what the operating system has to do. That is one of the responsibilities of the operating system. If the device is slow, it is the responsibility of the operating system to coordinate the slowness so that the printer prints all the 1000 documents. Is it clear now? Similarly, when it comes to the buffering, monitor or a display or your music. Yeah, Devdutt, you have something?
No, sir.
Yeah. So similarly, the device management also involves managing your display, scanner, your output, everything. Say for example, if what happens if operating system dumps the whole music file in 1 second? Can you listen like a 10-minute file in 1 second? It will be garbage, right? What happens? But operating system is capable of doing that, right? Can you consume any meaningful music with it? No, right? So that is what the operating system has to do. Operating system has to control the file or the audio signals, what has to go into the headset, everything, because the devices are very slow. Operating system, the microprocessor is very fast. It can crunch, but all this controlling needs to happen, right? So that is the responsibility of the operating system. So two techniques, one buffering before sending the content to, say for example, to your display. If you're downloading 100 GB of file from internet, the operating system has to buffer and send at the rate of what the display can consume. Okay, is it clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's see the next topic of memory management. Okay. So operating system also have to manage, apart from managing CPU devices, it also has to manage the memory. Memory is also a physical device which is there inside your computer. So your memory might be, say for example, 4 GB, which is fixed. But still, the computers are capable of running, say, a 10 GB program also. So, say for example, your video file, what you see is nothing but set of instructions. Did you ever see there is lot of video files in your computers? Okay, video files with larger file size is nothing but set of instructions to the computer how to display this file on the system and how to play audio on the system, right? So if you have a smaller memory of, like say for example, only 4 GB, let's assume, Okay, the operating system's responsibility is to, if you download something from the internet or say from copy from USB, it all goes and sits in where first time? Where does it go and sit? If you download something, where does go and where are the files go and sit first time?
Sir, file manager.
Yeah, can all of you turn on the video? We should not turn it off. Why? I'm trying to make it more interactive. When you download something, where does it sit?
Sir, file manager.
Yes, it sits on the disk. Disk is the physical device, right? There is a hard disk. It sits on the hard disk, right? So did you all of you check there is a hard disk in your computer like C drive, D drive? It goes and sits in the hard disk. Okay. So operating system is responsible. If you download something from the internet, it is responsible to store it onto the disk, right? When you want to play a file, let's say video file, who plays that file? Your application and the operating system, both of them together, right? So first thing is anything, if you want to execute any application or any data or anything, first it has to be brought into where? What does the computer do? It brings all the data into the memory, right? We discussed that. Only then the data goes to the output devices. Even before, say for example, if you are playing a video file or a music file, the first thing it has to come into memory and then it gets diverted to the output devices, right? Similarly, if you are executing a job or an application, so the first place is the operating system is responsible to bring that from the storage like the disk into the physical memory. Okay, and then it gets executed. Okay, now again the same problem comes back to us. What happens if you have a 10 GB program and you have only 4 GB? How can you load a 10 GB program into a 4 GB memory? Aisha, any guesses? Say our
Sir,
laptop.
it gets compressed.
The buffering.
No. See, buffering is like splitting and giving only certain things what is required into the output devices. Any guesses? So what operating system does is operating system creates something called a virtual memory. Okay. Say for example, virtual memory can be as big as what you can go with. So your physical memory can be constrained to 4 GB. So virtual memory, when operating system sees that there is a large program which needs to be executed, okay, which needs to be brought into the memory, then the operating system decides to create a virtual memory, and the virtual memory size is very big, and some part of the virtual memory can be in the main memory and some part of the virtual memory can be in the disk. Okay, so that's how virtually operating system creates a large memory. Even though you have only 4 GB, operating system can create, say if your job or your program is of 6 GB, who creates the virtual memory? Your operating system. Okay, so your operating systems creates the virtual memory so that it can be loaded. Devdutt, you have raised the hand. You have something to share?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Like if the file or the video we have to watch is like only 1 GB and our storage is like 4 GB, is it necessary to create a virtual memory?
Great question. Not required. So virtual memory gets expanded only when there is a need, right? Say if you have a large car, right? And if you have a small parking area, then you don't have to expand, right? So the virtual memory gets expanded when it is only needed, right? So if you have a small file, if it can fit into the existing memory, you don't need the virtual memory. So the operating system does not create the virtual memory. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Perfect. So apart from managing the virtual memory, the operating system also creates partitions. Say for example, we don't keep the memory as it is as 4 GB slot. Okay, we create small pockets, small sizes so that we manage all of them efficiently. When there is a small program which is required only 1 GB, so that we can fit in 1 GB so that the whole physical memory of 4 GB does not go waste. So that is the responsibility of the operating system to manage partitions and also virtual memory. Okay, so apart from that, the operating system is also responsible for file management. Maybe you would have seen whenever you wanted to create a file or download a file or copy a file, automatically you do all those things by using some utilities provided by the operating system, right? So you right click, you say copy, then you go to that folder, you paste. So all that magic is happening behind the scenes by the operating system. So operating system has created a file system. Okay, there has to be a file system, and operating system manages which file is located where, right? It knows, the operating system knows everything. Operating system is like a bookkeeper, librarian. It knows everything, which file is in which place, right? And if you ask for that file, the operating system will be able to tell you and give you the contents of that file from the disk, because all the files gets permanently stored on the disk. Disk is sort of a magnetic cylinders where only the operating system remembers on which cylinder, on which location, which file is stored, right? Because you cannot just open the hard disk and tell, okay, show me my homework document. Nothing like that is existing, right? The operating system remembers a file table which tells which file is located in which cylinder, which disk, because your hard disk has multiple layers of disks, right? That's how the physical structure looks like. Even if you say memory card, it's all sectors and all that stuff, right? Your operating system remembers a file table. It's like a journal where you say, for example, you would have written, okay, I have hidden my 10 rupee note in this right corner so that you don't forget, or I have hidden all my secret things in this place. It's like an index. Okay, so operating system is also responsible for managing all the files. It is responsible for creating, editing, storing, removing, and all that stuff. Okay. So operating system's responsibility is to easily locate which file is where by maintaining a file index table and making sure all the files are not lost, right? If you download any file, the operating system should know where it is, how to read, how to retrieve that file and give it to the user, right? So operating system also is responsible for managing folders, directories, and all that stuff. Okay. Okay.
Sir, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Have you heard of any file management system? Any chance?
Sir, iCloud?
No, iCloud is not a file management system. It is kind of storage which is in the cloud, but within the operating system, there is a lot of file management system, right? Have you anytime heard of FAT32 sort of thing.
Sir, even PDF is a file management.
PDF? No, PDF is a type of a file. Okay. PDF is a kind of a file. It's not a file management system. Okay. Windows has predominantly file management system, which is a structure of how the operating system is going to manage the files. So very popular ones is like file allocation table, FAT32 or NTFS. So we will see some of these things, but not in detail. Okay. Now, all of you can start your command. You know how to start a command prompt?
Yes.
Okay. If you are not aware how to start a command prompt, go to start, click on the start button, type CMD. You will see a black window command, right? Aisha, Jayantika,
Sir, can you repeat
Yes,
again?
sir, it's open.
yeah. Go to start, click on the start button.
Sir, is it command prompt?
Yeah, command prompt. Devda, did you open command prompt? There should be a black window which is
Yes,
open
sir.
now.
I
There is
open.
a black window open. Swastik,
Yes,
there is a
Yes,
window
sir.
which is open for you.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
I want to see all of you
Sir, not
opening the
getting
command.
it.
Click on the start button.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And there you will, if you see, there will be something called CMD command prompt. CMD. Scroll, you will see a black icon. Or you can also type run command, and there you can type CMD. Your command prompt will open. You want to share your screen? Maybe I can help. How many of you have opened the command prompt apart from Devdutt? Jayantika, Meenakshi, Neil.
Yes, sir, I got.
Okay. Who is still yet to open the command prompt? Neil, have you opened the command prompt?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you see my screen?
No, can you? You have to share, I guess. I
So
guess you
now?
have to share the screen. You are not able to see the command prompt? You're not able to get the command prompt?
Yes, sir. Sir, where is the share screen option?
Let me check. If
Near the unmute button and all.
yeah, next to the microphone icon, you should see a share content up arrow key.
Sir, that one I have clicked.
Okay. Okay. So can someone else show Swastik how to open a command prompt? Jayantika or someone? Maybe that would be. Yeah. Meenakshi or Jayantika, can someone show how to start a command prompt? That would be easy. Yeah. This is Devdutt. Devdutt, can you show how did you open this command prompt?
Wait, sir, I'll share.
Yeah.
I go here.
Mm-hmm.
B.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. That's how you start the command prompt. Swastik, did you see?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you try now? Can you try sharing your screen so that we can see?
sir, should I stop?
Sorry, Devdutt, you were saying something?
Sir, should I
Yeah, you stop so that we can see what Swastik is doing, so that we can all help him. Yeah, Swastik, share your screen and make sure the command prompt is open. Swastik, you're there?
Sir, if it's a pirated operating system, then it might not. He might not own command
No,
prompt.
nothing like that. All of you should get it. Doesn't matter. Okay. You're also. Can you share your screen so that I can help you, Aisha?
Sir, I got it.
Oh, okay, great. Swastik, how about you? Okay, so let's do one thing. Okay, the first thing before we start the practicals, imagine, all of you imagine a tree. How is a tree? Primarily, what does tree have? Imagine a tree.
leaves?
Yes, just leaves. What else?
The bark of the tree, the wood,
Yes, what else?
some fruits,
Okay, what else?
branches.
Exactly. So there is only one trunk, right?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
There is only one trunk. From the trunk, there are what? From the trunk,
Many
what comes?
branches. Many branches.
Many branches. From the branches, what comes?
The leaves.
Exactly. So imagine your file system is nothing but like a big tree. Okay. Your disk is like a trunk, and from there on, there will be lot of branches. And within each branch, there will be leaves, which is called as files. Now, when someone asks you, hey, how does your file system look? The first answer is it is like a tree, right? File system is nothing but like a tree, which is managed by the operating system. Okay. Say, for example, if you want to go from one branch to the other branch, what will you do on a tree? How will you go from one side of the branch to the other side of the branch? What will you do?
We climb down, then climb up.
Yes. Not necessarily you'll climb down of the tree. You'll come to a common point and then go to the other side, right? Of the branch, right? Say, for example, if you are on this side, say on a different side of a branch, but the fruit is on the other side. How will you extract the fruit? You have to go to that branch and then you have to pluck the fruit, right? Okay. Now, on the similar lines, we will start learning some commands on how to navigate the file tree in operating system, which is very important. Okay. All of us, okay, go to your command prompt and type pwd and press enter and see what happens. I want each one of you show me and tell me what is happening. Can all of you turn on the video, guys? Why do we turn on? Why do you turn off the video?
Sir, it's showing PW, PW and E, no?
PWD enter. Yes, excellent. So Swastik also has got it right. So PWD enter. Okay. So since this is Windows, I'm a bit lost. My apologies. So basically, PWD is nothing but the present working directory. Okay. So if you see, it is showing in which branch of the file system you are. It is saying I'm in C drive, users branch, and within that branch there is a child branch, Lenovo, right? All of you can see this. What Devdutt has Swastik has presented, right? So now let's see how do we navigate and play around with some of these things. Okay. So all of you, can you press CD back CD dot space dot. See what happens. CD space two dots. Swastik, you can type. Or
Sir,
I can also show my screen actually. Okay.
Sir, can you repeat again?
Let me show, instead of you guys typing it, let me share my screen. That would be easier. You guys are able to see my screen? Not yet, right? Okay. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let me start my PowerShell. Okay. So that way it is a lot easier. Okay. So can all of you type cd dot dot? See what happens and tell me what happens. Just keep typing cd dot dot. So if you see in my screen, are you able to see my screen as well while you are typing? Keep typing until you see C colon.
Yes, sir, I've got that.
Yes. So any guesses what is this CD means? So CD stands for change directory.
Change directory.
Short term abbreviation. Okay. So I have told you to imagine a tree, right? I was in this branch of the tree, right? So I say I wanted to move to a different branch. So this was a child branch. So by eventually making change directory, I moved from this child branch to this trunk of the branch called users. Now if you see where am I? Guys, imagine a tree. Where am I? After doing so many change directories, where am I right now?
Sir, in the tip of the branch?
Exactly. I am at the root of the trunk. So now from here on, I can go to any branch, right? Let's go to another branch. How do I do that? In file system, in a tree, I can just come down to the tip of the trunk and then I can climb to another branch. Similarly, I can climb to another branch by using the change directory command. So the change directory command is used for navigating or traversing between the branches. So if I do cd / right, applications. Okay. Now it has gone to a different branch, right? Now let's say if I wanted to come back, what is the command? If I want to again come back to the trunk of the branch, what is the command?
cd dot dot.
So dot dot refers to one step back. Okay. Is it clear? Can all of you try this? Come to the root.
Sir, for me, directly it goes to users.
Yes. Do cd space dot dot. See what happens. All of you are trying this, guys. Jayantika, this is very important, right? Because you need to understand the basics very well.
Sir, like this.
How? You want to share your screen and show?
Sir.
So for me, it says the system cannot find the path specified.
Sir, this one.
Yeah, show the screen. Share the screen.
Sir, I've shared.
How come we are not able to see it? Maybe you did not share it. Yeah, now it's coming up. Yes, exactly. So that's how now you are at the root of the trunk. You are at the base of the trunk. Okay. Now what should you do if you want to go back to users? I have shown you. Can you go back to the users branch? So in file
Sir, we have
system,
to type cd
yeah,
/ application.
cd space users. Your cd change directory space give space enter space bar. Okay, users, type users. See, everyone will have their own file system. Okay. Users enter. Yeah. See, now you are again back to the users, right? Now again do cd space Lenovo. Okay. Enter. Yeah. Now you see, now in the tree world, in the tree analogy, we said there are branches and leaves, and there is only one trunk, right? One trunk, branches and leaves, right? All of you are with me, Aisha, Neil, Vernab. In file system world, the branches are called as what? Any guesses? Directories.
Okay.
The branches, it's a kind of a synonym. Okay, the branches are called as directories, and leaves are called as what? Any guesses? Files.
Yes, sir.
Files. So similarly, the way how in a tree there is a trunk, there is a branch, and there is a leaves, operating systems follow the same terminology. It has a drive, which is like a trunk. Okay. So in your computer, in some, everyone will have a C drive, which is a trunk, which is the root of the base of the file system. And from there will be lot of branches or directories. If you go to C drive, there will be a lot of directories, which is nothing but your branches. And in each branch, there will be something called leaves, which is nothing but your files. Now we will play around with some of these things. Now the next command, what we're going to learn, all of us, are you able to do this, all of you, so far with me? Anyone was not able to do this exercise?
Sir, I did.
Aisha, how about you, beta? Jayantika, Meenakshi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I also did.
Okay, Barnab,
Yes, sir. I also.
Neil?
Yes, I've got it.
Okay, now let's type dir. Swastik, you can keep your window so that we can learn from you. Let's all of us type dir and enter. See what happens. What is happening?
Sir, what we have to type?
dir. I can also show. Hold on a second. Okay, let's say dir and enter. See what is happening on the screen. Can you all see my
It is all
screen?
the contents in the directory.
Yes, exactly. So it has displayed all the content in that directory. So the way how one big branch, what and all a branch can have? What and all will a branch in a tree can have? Guys, you all have seen the tree, right? What and all a branch can have? Branch can have leaves and also further child branches, right? Similarly,
Yeah.
a directory can have more child directories or files, which we call it as leaves. So the directory, the abbreviation for directory is used for listing the current directory or branch. Okay, so I will stop using the branch and leaves because it doesn't make any sense in the file system world. That I have given it only for the visualization purpose. So directory command is used to list all the content of that current directory. Okay. Now say for example, if I wanted to see only certain types of files. Okay. Let's say I wanted to only see directory, the files which start with say P. Okay. See, I have said directory space capital P star. Star is nothing but a wild card. So now I'm not seeing all the contents. I'm only seeing certain files which starts with P. So far with me, guys, all of you?
Yes, sir.
How many of you seen this command? Devdutt, have you seen this? What is happening when you do directory?
Sir, I did not know till now.
You have not done it?
Sir, I did now.
Oh, okay. What is it showing?
There's some dates and the directories starting from P.
Sir,
Okay,
sir,
great. Swastik, yeah.
sir, it was dir space P, right?
No, enter dir first, enter. See what happens.
Sir, I've entered.
Yeah, what is it showing? See, if you have to write programs, you have to learn all these commands. Enter. Yeah, dir, enter. Okay, you have already entered. Okay. Now, say for example, if you want to see only the directories or files which starts with P, enter dir space P asterisk. Do that, Swastik. Dir space P asterisk star. Yeah, enter. Now what are you seeing? You are only seeing the pictures folder or directory. You are not seeing the entire list of the or entire details of the folder. You are filtering out. This is how you select only certain directories, okay, or files for that matter. Okay. Now, so far we have seen how to change, okay, how to list the files. Now let's see how do I jump among the files, okay, using the change directory. Okay, let me show you. So every time you wanted to traverse to a branch, not necessarily you should come back to the trunk, just like the way how you can do it in a tree. You can also do it using the absolute and the root path. If you know exactly, say for example, where I wanted to go, say users, okay, and say Madan, you can directly go. So this is the path what I'm giving, okay, from the root or the trunk. Okay, start going to users branch and then go to the Madan's directory or the folder. If I know this, right? Sometimes this is called as root or absolute path. Sometimes you may not require to do this. Okay, all I can do is, say for example, if I have to go to the root, okay, from the current path I can say backward, one step back and one more step back. It has gone back. Okay, so this is a relative path reference in the operating system. So you can do both ways. You can give full path if you know the full path, or you can give only the current path or absolute path. Okay, this is also possible. Both are possible. Okay, now all of you go to your C colon. You know how to go to the trunk C colon?
CT dot dot.
Keep going till you go to C colon. Hey, someone is trying to speak. Yeah. Yeah. So all of you are in the command prompt. Okay. Someone is trying to speak. I guess there is some problem. Now the next thing what we're going to learn, Aisha, this time, do you want to share your screen? We're going to learn.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So Swastik, you can stop. Let me give Aisha an opportunity to share her screen so that we can see how to create a directory. Okay, the command to create a directory is mkdir. Okay, mkdir space. No. You have to wait. Okay, mkdir space. Okay, let's say Python. All of us, let's create this Python. Okay, enter. Okay, now you do dir, which is the directory listing. Enter. Do you see your folder being created or directory? Right? See whether your folder is created or not. You can type dir p star or py star.
So, sir, mkdir means make a directory, no?
Exactly. You are ahead of us, man. Okay. See now how do you go to this directory? What the directory which we have created right now? Aisha, any guess? Change directory, right? Change directory space,
CD
give your
Python.
directory name. Yeah. CD space. Yeah, Python. Enter. Okay. Now you are in the directory which you have created. All of us are here with what we are seeing on the screen. Jayantika, Minakshi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Did anyone miss this step so far?
No, sir.
So we have learned how to navigate between the directories, how to create a new directory. The next thing we will learn, say for example, if your screen is getting so clogged, okay, let's learn how to create the screen, clear the screen, right? Type CLS, Aisha, and enter. What did it do? Devdutt, you are on mute, I guess. You wanted to say something.
No, sir, it got cleared.
Yes. So what does that mean? What does CLS stand for? Clear screen. If you want to clear the screen, if you have typed so many commands, it will be hard for you to follow, right? So you can clear the screen by typing CLS. So we have seen few commands, right? Who provided all these commands to us? Guys, who is providing all these commands?
Sir,
Operating system,
I was going
right?
to say that.
Yeah, good. So the operating system has provided all these commands. So using all these commands, we can control what? Jayantika, Neil.
Yes, sir.
File,
Using these commands, what are we doing?
sir,
We are editing our computer.
Yes, we are controlling our computer by using these commands, right? Now, see, by using C- CLS or clear screen command, what did we control? We controlled the behavior of which device? Monitor, display. We control the behavior of monitor. We cleared, we said monitor, oh, clean all these things. I don't want to see anymore, right? Okay, now let's learn few more commands. Okay, let's type echo. Okay, space. Aisha, can you type echo? Okay, space. Okay, say hello Python in double quotes. In double quotes. Okay, let's say hello Python. Okay, in double quotes. See what happens. What happened? It just echoed the same thing on the console, on the display, right? Now let's do one thing. Let's type echo space hello Python. Okay. Okay. Space. Okay. Greater than symbol. Okay. Space hello.txt. No double quotes. No double quotes. Okay. Hello.txt. Okay. Enter. Okay. Any guess what would have happened?
No, sir.
Okay. Now do dir. Enter. What do you see here? What do you see on Aisha's screen? All of you. You see a new file called hello.txt. How did this magic happen? How did a new file get created? So when first time Aisha typed hello.python, then the same message got printed on the display. But second time, did it print on the display?
No, sir.
No, right? Then where did the content go? Where did the message go? The message went into a file because we told the computer, this is another command. This is a kind of a directive. Okay. We told, okay, now you don't print this on the console, but direct this into a file by name hello.txt. That's when it created a file. Now let's see, type. Aisha, type, word type. Yeah, space hello.txt. Okay, enter. Now, what did it do? Any guess?
It's basically typing down all the contents inside that file.
Exactly. Very good. Who was that? So it has shown the contents of the file. It is typing the contents of that file, right? So if you want to see without any other application from the bare minimum tools what the operating system has provided to you in Windows, the type is the command. By using the type command, you have seen all the contents of the file. All of you have practiced so far?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. Now create one more directory called for F1. All of you, I want you to create one more directory called F1. Let's see how do you create. I want you to show me the screen. Aisha, the exercise what you need to do is create one more folder called F1. Jayantika, can you show your screen? Jayantika, are you?
Sir, I'm not able to present.
You're not able to present? Why? What happened? Okay, Meenakshi, can you share your screen?
Sir, can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Devdutt.
Sir, here.
Yeah, where is the Python folder? Where is your Python? Oh, you did not create Python folder. I
Sir,
go to Python folder, go inside Python folder. Let's see, how do you go to Python folder?
Sir, I did not make a folder. I was about to make, but you told to make a some
No,
directory.
you have already created a folder called Python. It's there. You created just now.
Oh.
Go to that folder. How do you
How?
go to that folder? Yeah, now go. No. Change directory.
How it was?
CD space the directory name. Yes. Now inside this folder, create one more folder called F1 or directory. How do you create a new directory? Yes. Yes. Now do a dir. Let's see the contents of the folder. There is a folder. Let's create one more folder, F2. Create one more folder here. Okay, let's create one more folder, F3. Okay, perfect. Now what I want you to do is, from here, without changing the branch, create f1.txt, file1.txt with a message called hello Devdutt. Okay, how do you create? Let's see. Create a file by name f1.txt. The content of the file should be hello Devdutt.
So I'm a little confused. I've not got how to open it yet. I'm drawing a blank. It's coming back to the same thing again and again.
Sir, in which should we hello Devdutt come?
In a file name f1.txt. No, you have typed less than symbol, greater than symbol.
How to erase? Okay.
Go back. Go back. Yeah. Yeah.
This no?
Yes. Space. Yeah. Yeah. Enter. Now see the directory contents. How would you see? Yes. Exactly. You are good. Now you see there is f1.txt. Okay. Now I was hearing there was some other problem. Who was that?
Me, sir. Neil.
Neil. Neil, Devdutt, you can stop. Let Neil share his screen. He has some problem. You want to share your screen, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wait.
So, could you please check mine after his?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, can you see my screen?
Not yet. It's coming up. Yes. Now, yes, I can. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So is this what it is? Like.
Yeah. Absolutely. You are right. You have done all the right things.
So I've done the F1 and then the F2.
Yes. No. F2,
Okay,
you have not created the folder F2. You have to create the folder by typing.
Oh, okay. So you have to create it. You have to create it like again, or is there another shortcut, or do you have to do the exact same thing again?
Okay. Do one thing. Okay. So if you have to create a new folder, what was the command? Make directory
Echo.
mkdir.
Oh yeah.
No,
MKDIR.
that was to create a file, right? Make directory mkdir f2.
MKDIR.
F2. Yeah. Now you see the contents of the folder dir. You see two folders.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to do. Good. Okay. You can stop.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what Aisha has done. Okay. Aisha, you want to share your screen? Yeah. Go back one step. Let's see how do you go back to one step. CD, change directory, space, dot. We learned this, right? Now you press dir. Okay, enter. Enter. No, not dir greater than. Okay, yeah. So you have only one folder here, F1. Let's create another folder, F2. How do you create another folder here? Yeah, great. Excellent. So all of us has learned how to create folders and how to create a simple file, right? Any doubts in this? How to navigate between the directories or branches, right? Now let's do one more thing. Okay, so let's do how to copy files between these directories. Who want to share now their screen? Any volunteers? Barnab,
Yes, sir.
yeah, let's see your screen. Okay, great. So let's see what is the contents of this file, dir. Okay, enter. So this directory has. Now I want you to think how to move, say, f1 dot, or how to copy f1.txt file into f1 folder. The command here is cp copy. Okay, type cp space f1.txt. Okay, space, you are copying the f1.txt to some other place. Which place? Type f1, enter. Okay, cp, you don't have it. Okay, then let's do copy, copy. Okay, f1.txt. Okay, space f1, enter. Okay, so it is saying something. Okay, now let's type dir, enter. You see this file is still in the current directory. Let's go to f1 folder, f1 directory. How do you go? No, how do you go to f1 folder? No, echo is to print a message, or yeah, change directory.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
It's showing if I want to overwrite my file.
yeah, that's okay. Say yes, enter.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, sir.
yeah. Now do a dir, enter. Now you see the same file here. What did happen, Burnap? What did happen with this cp command?
So we copied the file, but we didn't paste it
Exactly.
anywhere.
But we did.
Paste it anywhere.
Yeah, that's what. See, usually we have been all playing around with right click, copy, paste, and all that stuff, right? This copy command did the trick of both copying and pasting. So in the Windows world, when you when you copy something, it is required that you paste something into another folder. But this command of copy did both for you, copying and pasting into another folder. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So when you write programs, you need to send all these instructions, right? Okay. So now we have learned how to copy. Did anyone miss this step so far? All of you have learned, all of you have done how to copy a file from one location to another folder. Did anyone miss? Jayantika, did you complete
Can
so
you
far?
repeat the steps again?
Yeah, the command for copying a file is copy, copy space, the file name, what you want to copy, space, and to which folder you want to copy. Is it clear?
Sir, I did till like the Python cdf1, and now we are in that till dir I did. Afterwards, I did not understand.
Yeah, show me your screen. Jayantika, are you doing this? I have not seen your screen yet. I want you to see your screen next. Okay. So you are already in F1 folder. Come back. How do you come back? cd dot dot. Okay. Now you do dir. Okay. Now you copy the file F1 to F1 folder. How do you copy? Using the copy command. Copy space, I am giving the file name with a relative path, or I can also give full path of, like say for example, C colon. Let's learn giving full path C colon. Type C colon backward slash. No, wait. C colon. There is a character. There is a character on the keyboard after L, next to L. Shift colon. That is, yes, backward slash.
This
Backward slash. After P there is angular bracket, and then there is a backward slash. Yes. No. Backslash. You typed semicolon. Okay. Shift colon. Shift, press the key next to L. Press shift together. Shift. Yes. Now press backward slash. No, that is pipe. Backward slash. Yes. Now type Python. Okay. Okay. Backward slash F1 backward slash F1 dot txt. Wait, don't do anything. Okay, what does this mean? This means I'm giving full path from the trunk. Okay, from the trunk C drive, there is a branch called Python. Within the branch of Python, there is another branch called F1. In that F1 branch, there is a leaf or a file called f1.txt. This is the file I want to refer to. Give a space. Okay. Now let's use space backward. Yeah, space. Okay. Now let's give same C colon Python F2. Same C colon backward slash Python. Yeah. Yeah. F2 backward slash. Yeah. Enter. The system cannot find the file specified. Why? There is a file, right? F1. Oh, maybe it's there in the yeah. So do up arrow key. Do up arrow key. Okay. Yeah. Only one time. Yeah. Go back. Backspace. Keep pressing backspace. Yeah. Because the file is not in F1. We are trying to copy the file from backspace. Yeah, backspace. Yeah, wait. Yeah, F1 .txt space. Now give the full path of the F1 folder. C colon backward slash Python. Backward slash F1. Enter. Only one F. Yeah. Enter. See, now it has copied. Right? So we have learned how to create files, copy files. Let's do you want to delete? You want to learn how to delete? Let's
yes,
learn.
sir.
Yeah. So all of you delete the file which is there in folder F1. The command is del space file name F1.
Sir,
Yeah.
so when I try to open a file F2, it says access denied.
We will see there. I'll come. Yeah. Enter. Now do a dir. Is F1 there now?
The file is deleted.
Yes, that's how you delete a file using a command in Windows. Okay, let's go to Aisha. You wanna stop sharing, Devdutt?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Aisha, share the screen. Let's see what's happening.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
I somehow lost all progress. Like everything went back to the very first beginning.
Oh,
The
no worries.
user slash.
I'll come to you. Okay, let's finish. Okay, so what you are trying to do, Aisha, here is type is a command to see the contents of the file, not a folder. F2 is a folder, not a file. You see that? You see the difference? If you want to see the contents of a folder, what you do dir, not type. Okay. Now press dir F2. Yes, enter. See, it shows the contents of the folder. If you want to see the contents of the directory, you have to use dir command. If you want to see the contents of a file, you use a type. You see the difference? You're there with me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now delete the file hello.txt. We have just learned the delete command, right? Let's see.
Yeah, sir, what was the command?
Delete, del space file name. Now do the, yeah. No, you are trying to see the F2 folder contents. Just see the Python folder contents. dir. Just enter. Enter. Yeah. Now the file has been deleted, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go to Neil. He has some issue. Yeah, Neil. Let's see your screen. Neil? Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so it somehow got like
No,
completely it went back to the beginning,
okay.
and then
No
I
worries.
just did into a dir Python, and all the things I created have come. After that, I've been lost.
Okay. Now enter dir here. Okay. How do you go to Python directory?
Mkdir Python.
No. mkdir is to create a directory. To change, navigate, or move across directories, it is change directory.
Oh, so wait, I don't get it. I'm lost.
cd space
cd space
Python. Enter. Okay. Now you do dir. See, there are 3 folders. Enter dir. Okay. You have 3 folders. Okay. And few files. Okay. Let's first copy the file hello.txt into F1. How do you do that?
I don't know. I told you I've been lost.
Yeah. So type copy space hello.txt. Okay, hello.txt space F1. Enter. Space F1, enter. Yeah. Enter. Yes. Now let's, now if you see, there is a file which is copied into F1 folder. Now go to F1 folder. How do you go to F1 folder?
dir F1.
No, cd. dir is to see the, yeah. To change the directory, it is cd. Yes. Now see the contents of this folder. What do we do? dir. Yes. Now, how do I delete a file? del space hello.txt. Del. Okay. Yes. Enter. Now you see type dir of, yeah, enter. The file is gone. It's deleted, right? That's how you do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have seen
Okay.
deleting. Okay. So we have already reached at the end. So let's continue this on next week. So meanwhile, I would want you to practice whatever we have learned, some of these commands, so that when we come back next week, we will do a little bit more on the same. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, everyone.